Brad Milkey. Brad, ABC News correspondent from Norristown, Pennsylvania. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is that Bill Cosby is about to arrive for what could be his final day as a free man, or it could be the day that exonerates him, or it could be a day where we just keep on going. The jury will be in its 41st hour of deliberations. Last night, the judge sent them home. Remember, midway through yesterday, they said they were deadlocked. He asked them to keep trying, and now apparently they're going to keep trying this morning.
Any news other than, has the jury sent out any questions? Any news where they're deadlocked? What is there an issue? Is it just guilt or not guilt? Guilty.
Well, that's what's so perplexing is that in the last 36 hours, the jury has ceased asking questions. Midway through yesterday, the only communication they had with the judge all day was that note saying, we haven't made any progress and we think we're deadlocked. It's a standard procedure. He sent them back into the room with a charge to sort of re-examine things. But they haven't been asking for transcripts. They haven't been asking for testimony the way they were the first day. And there's no indication of whether this is one or two holdouts from the rest of the group or whether this group is really split down the middle. We do know that they're examining these three charges. They're all very closely linked, but it's also a possibility that they could just make a decision on one charge and not the other.
Any idea whether or not the judge is going to let the jury go after today if they remain deadlocked?
I mean, the defense is certainly calling for that. In fact, the defense immediately moved for a mistrial the moment the jury said it was initially deadlocked. And since then, Andrew Wyatt, who you just heard there, the spokesman for Bill Cosby, has said that the judge should step in at this point and just end this. He says it's gone on long enough. We don't know what the jurors would have to say that they didn't already consider in the first 40 hours of deliberation. And make no mistake, a mistrial would be a good thing for this defense. It's not actually clear that the DA would want to retry this case if there was a hung jury.
Well, and that was my next question. Any word from the prosecution, the DA, as to whether they would retry if it resulted in a hung jury?
Well, so, I mean, it's up to the DA, and the DA's spokespeople have so far said they won't immediately look to retry the case, that they would actually have to consider it. And that seems like political speak for we don't really want to, but we'll sort of see what happens. I mean, this is a case that took 2 years to get together. They had to go to Pittsburgh to get a jury that wouldn't be biased. Remember, we're right outside of Philadelphia, where Bill Cosby really is an icon. And so there's just this huge process. They've gotten a lot of motions from the defense to dismiss this case already because it stretches back so long. And so there's a lot of skepticism that the DA would actually look to retry this, which again means the potentially one juror holdout could make Bill Cosby a free man.
It is not unusual for a judge to send the jury back in and have them try again, and it's not unusual for juries to compromise, if you will, in an effort to get home for the weekend. This sounds like, however, that there are folks just staring at one another in that jury room saying, we just disagree.
Yeah, again, considering that the jury has not asked any questions, it's difficult to get a read on juries. Of course, that yesterday we saw some jurors wearing some of their nicer clothes, and that usually happens when you think you're going to get a verdict. Of course, that didn't happen. And so now the question is, is this a waiting game? Are people saying, I can outlast you and make you break, and you'll come over to my side, and not vice versa? It's difficult to tell, but then again, the judge said to them last night that he was very proud, that he thinks the jury is taking its job extremely seriously, that for everyone who thought this was an open and shut case and it should end within a few hours, the jury took its job very seriously and decided to keep going over testimony. So the judge sounds enthusiastic, but he's about the only one out there. Everyone else seems pretty tired and exhausted.
Well, it's been a long week. It's been a long 2 years, and strong opinions on both sides. It's always kind of been my sense that it would be very difficult to pick 12 people that could come down, 12 on one side or 12 on the other side. That is, guilty or not guilty. That opinions and beliefs seem very, very split.
Well, and by the way, they're split outside the courtroom, too. We've seen this become more and more of a circus as the week has gone on, as anticipation has built. And yesterday, you actually had scenes, arguments of accusers of Bill Cosby, who also say he assaulted them over this last several decades, come out and confront the people who were holding Free Cosby signs. So there really is a lot of tension over sex, sexual assault, race, and celebrity, and it's really all coming to a head outside as well as inside the jury room.
It's reminiscent a little bit of the Michael Jackson trial.
I mean, people outside the courtroom have said that this, Bill Cosby supporters say he's the latest in a long line of black celebrities who have been taken down by a white-driven judicial system. I mean, you have people out here pointing to O.J. Simpson, to Michael Jackson, like you said, Kobe Bryant, another Philadelphia native. And so that is where a lot of the disagreement lies. However, one of Bill Cosby's African-American accusers came out and said to one of these people, I would not be making this up to protect a bunch of white people, is how she described it to one of those protesters. So it really is some tensions being laid raw out here.
Brad, they showed Camille Cosby with Bill Cosby on Monday. Have we seen any more of her?
We haven't seen any more of Bill Cosby's family or even the former Cosby Show cast members that he was bringing along. At least they haven't been at his side as he's walked into the courtroom. Instead, it's just been him and his spokesman. And, of course, the jury no longer sees any of those, those people sort of showing up along his side as much. During the trial, there was speculation that, the defense is really trying not to just show you Bill Cosby. They want to show you Cliff Huxtable, right? That's who they want the jury to believe is on the stand. And so that's why it was so interesting to see who they would sort of bring out alongside Bill Cosby.
We'll see how things go today. Brad Mielke from Norristown, Pennsylvania, ABC News correspondent. Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.